You're listening to the Road to Wisdom podcast, weaving stories told by wonderful minds about all things motherhood, health, intimacy, politics, nature, and everything in between.
Join us on an adventure discovering unique experiences that we can learn from to enhance the ways in which we live.
We are your hosts, Chloe
and Keshia.
Welcome, everyone, to the Road to Wisdom podcast. This is our 100th episode recording, and it is large.
Oi, that's huge. Like that is huge. We hit 100 episodes. We hit 100 episodes in 2 years. We started with 1-year-olds and 3 other children each, and had like after what?
When did we find out we were pregnant? I think about 4 months in.
4 months in, we found out we were pregnant. Did like 9 months of like pregnancy podcasting, and then
which served a lot of people, by the way, not just us, but in that time there were so many people having babies, and I feel like our content was very useful. Yeah, and it did come. Yeah, it was a lot of energy out for that to do that huge. During pregnancy and up until really like quite the end of our pregnancies too, which you were seasoned at working through. I was not. I was like
that. It was pretty gnarly. Like for those of you listening, I was actually editing when I went into labor.
I was not
bouncing on a ball.
Yeah,
editing.
Were you really? I feel like you've left out that detail.
When I was like losing my mind trying to edit, and like I was trying to edit and I just couldn't concentrate. I'm like there's a situation I won't go into the backstory of, but obviously all my rage got released onto Togga, and then I was like, I think I'm just tired. I need to have a nap. And it was like a few hours later, I was like, oh, I'm getting contractions.
Yeah.
Like maybe, but yeah.
And then obviously the editing, you did so much editing in that little window of time, and it's basically just been like a miracle. And we've spoken to 100 guests almost, and had to absorb a lot of information, which has been an absolute honor to be able to speak to some of the people that we've been able to speak to. You know, like it's been personal therapy, like some of those conversations we've had about marriage, like, you know, the John Gray conversations, like
even Lucy Lampy,
which is crazy because now she's like about to have a baby too.
I know. She's taking the blended family.
Yeah, bless her. But then, yeah, you know, in the earlier days when we were kind of talking more about like raising children in a way, and finding our niche, which we were like anti-niche at the start. Like, no, we're talking about everything and anything that's important, from foraging food to, you know, political, the freaking, what were you talking about at the start?
I can't remember.
But
we did get political.
Yeah, in a different light.
I think we got, like when we were getting Eliza Mondegreen on, and we got some gnarly conversations happening. And then we got really political when we got Joanna Howe on. So we just went for it.
We talked about a lot about health stuff as well. Like we talked about German medicine. I particularly loved talking about quantum biology and light and all that stuff. Loads about birth.
Oh, definitely our conversation with Yolanda. I really enjoyed our conversations with Rhea Dempsey as well.
Yeah.
She's a legend. And then even with the girls who did Born at Home film.
Yes.
We've had some really epic people on.
Melanie Defaults.
Oh, legend.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sometimes I still chat to Melanie in my Instagram DMs, and she always just has like some little pearl to drop on me, like always.
Yeah, and it's always so soothing. She's like a balm to the soul.
Literally. Speaking of soothing, we had Lael Stone on a couple of times. Have you probably haven't seen the movie that Lael?
I saw the trailer for it. I haven't seen the movie.
A girlfriend of mine saw it last weekend at Hota. I'm pretty sure it's screening if anybody wants to head along. She would love that. But yeah, we've we've covered some ground, haven't we?
We have covered some ground. And then we've had the more like jarring but really interesting, and I think personal, like a lot of personal growth comes from the conversations with like the Holly Sinclairs of the world and Isabella Melbourne's and
IVF,
Callie Fell.
infertility,
that
party reproduction.
that world. So, and I'm sure if we still have you after Katie Faust's episode went live last week, oi, you are one of us. You are on the same train of discovery. But I think like more than anything, it's just being able and open to take in all the information, no matter how uncomfortable it is, and make informed decisions from there, which I think is what we've been about.
It doesn't have to be
the whole
for
time.
you. You can actually listen to something without getting your knickers in a knot
Mm-hmm.
and just taking a more grounded approach to it. But I think you have to be very, very comfortable with yourself to be able to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, actually, yeah, I hear you, but I don't really feel that way. So I'll see what you have to say next week. That's what we expect from you people.
That's what we're hoping for.
That's what we're hoping that you all do. But sometimes that's not been the case. But surprisingly, over the last couple of years, we actually, considering that we've spoken about some pretty contentious topics like third-party reproduction, abortion, free birth,
rights.
trans rights, children's rights, we actually haven't really had a lot of as big a pushback as we feared at times.
Yeah.
Yeah. There were times we were like, oh, I'm feeling really nervous about publishing this episode. What if? And it's actually usually been really well received.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest ones was actually our abortion chat with Dr. Joanna Howe, which, I mean, when we went into it, we were like, okay, third trimester abortion, surely everyone is like we're not ruffling feathers with that, right? But
we did.
We did. And we did get blowback from that. But I think what was really incredible were the number of women that came forward. Like, one, thank you for sharing this. Two, this is the information I wish I had prior to or before, or I'm so glad I have this information now. And that, like, I think when you consider it, like, blowback be damned. Well, I'm really glad that we were able to help a few people out with that and help people feel a bit more
involved.
Yeah, and like at home and able to open up and share their more vulnerable stories. And yeah, so thank you, audience.
I have a question for you.
Okay, go.
What has been your biggest take home from the last 100
episodes?
No pressure.
My biggest take home is I'm really glad I didn't know or didn't listen to anyone who told us that taking on a podcast was a really big undertaking.
It still is something I think about.
I'm so glad I didn't, because this is an incredible achievement, and the people we have spoken to are unbelievable. I mean, Paul Morland was just like a moment. And Dr. Stu, I don't know, we've some of the education that we have received on the show has been so worth it. But if before we started, someone had sat us down and been like, oi, you might want to consider this before you take it on. I probably would have been like, let's do something else.
But I think that's what
pottery.
And maybe we will just go back to that one day. But I think that's what I've loved about, I mean, from a partnership dynamic, there's no fucking way I would have been able to do a podcast without you and get to this far, because obviously you've done so much of the editing and all of that. But I think the fact that we were like that, let's just jump in and we'll figure it out and we'll just do the thing, has been a blessing, because I think when you overanalyze the thing that you're trying to do, that's kind of the only thing that gets in the way. If you do it and you fail, great.
Yeah.
But we actually achieved something pretty huge. But the takeaway in terms of content, what's something that you've been able to integrate into your life personally, and it's because of the podcast or because of one of our guests?
Well, Hmm.
You're like, nothing.
No, we had this conversation the other day where I was like, everything.
Yeah.
Everything. Like every time we have a conversation with someone, I'm just like, oh, yeah. And it kind of like, it's like a little brain explosion that opens my mind up to like a whole world of new information and just insights and a different perspective and being able to like question a bit more. I mean, I think I came into the podcast like really anti-establishment and anti-institutions and especially in the hospital system. Like I'll put my hand up and say like I was really like women don't need to birth in a hospital ever. And and I think having the conversations we have and being open to having conversations with Sally and with Lucette and and even obstetricians like Melanie the midwife, it's like, no, there are times, and how do we go about that, and how do we and I guess maybe just pulling me out of my own world and pulling me out of my own perspective and my own experience, which is one thing, and it's beautiful and I love all that, but at the same time when we're talking to a really large audience, I don't want to be that person that's like, hey, but my experience was this and so yours will be. Like it's not. You need all of the information, and I can share, like I hope that my experience can be part of people's decision making, but it's not the be all and end all. It's just my experience. So I think that was one thing that's really solidified, just to be a bit more open and take on multiple perspectives.
Love that.
How about you?
I kind of feel the similar way, but I think like, honestly, I think I still have a lot of space to integrate lots of the things that we've learned. But I think typically like probably the subjects around like relationships and like really thriving in that and learning really in depth about kind of like the woman's role and the man's role and kind of returning that whole perspective back to more of a traditional way of, because essentially like I was already thinking about, going back to traditional ways of like eating and living and things like that. But the whole concept of marriage in a traditional light really wasn't on my radar. Like sure, I'd, may have read John Gray, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, like when I was 17 or 18. But it doesn't land then. And I think having the conversations with the actual people and being able to experience those like different, challenges and things in real time with kids and kind of just, it's kind of like for me, we've gone through so much like in life and had so many challenges, and to have a conversation on the sidelines with these amazing people, be it Lael Stone, about, giving you a hug about motherhood being fucking hard sometimes. And sometimes your kids do act like that and you're actually more than fine. You're going to be fine. You're great. And then, talk to Lucy or John about, your relationship. Like, no, that's fine. You just got to do this. This is normal. That's not normal. But it's not your fault, blah, blah, blah. But then on the flip side, we've had a lot of conversations with even like the likes of Camille, who it's been a big time to turn the light back on ourselves. And a lot of the conversations have all come back to like, well, you need to take more responsibility for yourself and accountability for yourself, because the whole victim mentality thing. And so it's kind of been a big push pull. And like, instead of always thinking that it's something, an external thing that needs to change all the time, it's been a big, I guess, grouping of messaging that kind of is like, well, actually it's you who needs to take accountability and responsibility for your life and what choices you're making and how you're showing up and what you're doing and how you're contributing to your happiness or your suffering. So yeah, it's been pretty amazing. And I think the amazing thing about the 100 episodes is that they'll live there forever for people to like. It's not like it's a political thing where it's not relevant anymore. Like it'll always be relevant. And I feel like even for us, if there's ever a season of, whatever, it's something that we can always refer back to.
Yeah.
It's kind of like having our own little library of therapeutic
Oh, man.
conversation.
Have you gone back
I've
to
even-
any of our
I
episodes
have.
and had a re-listen?
Yeah,
and been like,
I have.
I needed that
The John
again.
Gray ones specifically I have.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that my brain can't go back and think of any other episodes specifically. I feel like
It's 100 is a lot.
it's a lot.
And
yeah.
we have lots of baby brain that we can blame and continue victimizing ourselves over.
No, but ultimately, like, I think, women have gone through these weird, we don't really know, we haven't really landed. And I think all of these conversations really are part of like the grounding back into woman, mother, and kind of what we're all wanting and kind of looking for in a way.
Yeah.
So,
Like, where has what we've grown up learning served us? And where do we need to dismantle it?
Yeah.
And are we dismantling it in the wrong ways? Like, and I go back to marriage heaps because this has like been the biggest mind-boggling exercise that I've been doing. I'm reading a book at the moment called, it's either Men and Marriage or Marriage and Men. It's by George Gilder. And if you're going to pick up that book, please know that I don't agree with everything said in it because it gets pretty gnarly. Oh no, I think you'd even cringe from some of the stuff that's said in it. But the first, like the opening, maybe 1 or 2 chapters, where it is talking about, and very bluntly, and he would offend everyone in the current situation, like his views of men and women and the dynamics that play out, and how basically women have shot themselves in the foot with feminism. We've created like this with the sexual revolution, and now women don't trust men because of the sexual revolution, and everyone was just like, yeah, free sex for all, and that didn't serve women. And now we've got a whole like group of women who got absolutely ruined by that, not vaginally, but like
they got pummeled over it, literally.
But like just ruined psychologically because actually we're not set up to have sex like men can have sex. Like that's just not. We drop 1 egg a month, 2 maybe if you're super hyper fertile, but we're, and it's a really vulnerable stage of life, and the consequences of sex are lasting regardless of whether you end up pregnant or not. I think the consequences for women are everlasting. I don't know any women personally who are like, I can't even remember that sexual encounter or that one, like with that person, you remember. You remember. And so now we have a group of women who are like, where's the chivalry? Where's the gentlemanship and all of this stuff? And I think we need to look at that because we don't want our kids to fall into the same basket. But what George Gilder talks about is actually how important marriage is for men and as part of their development. And he tells a story about the barbarian and the princess. And it was actually like really, I don't know, it hit home. And I think stories do. And it was just like a fairy tale story, but you get so much from that. And it's like men are all these barbarians basically as they come out of adolescence and they're coming into their bodies, and like their bodies are growing, and like they are becoming like men on the outside to actually help them translate that to the inside is marriage. And then we took that out of the picture because, what's marriage anyway? You can just get unmarried. You can just get divorced. Like everyone gets divorced. It's like, if you don't have prenups or like all this stuff, and it got really, like marriage got really complicated, and now we don't need it to have kids and blah, blah, blah. But, there's a whole group of men now who are also getting screwed over by that because they're like, that was like a real hook to come and ground yourself and have this responsibility and grow into this responsibility and become like the best version of yourself as a man. And yeah, this whole societal game that we've played has just kind of taken that away.
Yeah, I actually had someone message me the other day after I shared something about the slandering of men, and she was a mum, this actually could have been Melanie Default now that I'm thinking of it. And she was just like, if it was her, she said like how hard it is for her young adult or teenage sons who have such
Melanie's got
no,
more girls.
yeah, it's that's right. It was somebody else that they're really struggling with their identity to young manhood, because their perceived idea is that they think women just think that they want to fuck them.
Which isn't untrue.
As a 19-year-old, maybe that is true, but it's not really like, yes, they have like the sexual urges and they need that, but like to think that we just think that. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like we're not going around being like,
you're looking at chivalry now and
exactly.
being like, oh, you're just doing that because you want to get in my pants. Like it's like, no, I'm actually
they
just
actually have an ability to have like a really greater sense of depth, but we obviously, they're saying that it doesn't feel like we see that or value that, or yeah, they're really confused as well, growing up in a world where there's this really like, I guess, tragic messaging towards men, and they're kind of like, well, what's the go here? And I just said that terribly because I wasn't really prepared for that, but yeah, it's definitely, that book sounds really interesting.
It is, but he also speaks on like men and sexual urges, and I think it's so hard because us as women we have one way of like what it feels like to have sexual urges and what it feels like to be out in the world and whatever it is, and we try and translate that and just say that's how men feel as well, but it's like completely different. So, and then it's like women have tried to force men into this box of good behavior, where I think Alison Armstrong's work comes in, and bloody shout out to that woman, she's phenomenal.
That's a great conversation.
Yeah, but it's like the thought process is to put men in this box where they're behaving more like women, and then we will reward them with, I don't know, not saying that's a sexual thing, but like, you know, if they behave more like us, then we can reward them. But like John Gray's work points out, if we make them more like us, we don't like them anymore, because they've lost all of the masculine qualities that we actually biologically require for safety and security and provision. So it's
that actually just makes me think about the conversation that I was talking about before with my friends about the husbands never putting any effort into the thing. and I think it's funny to think like, what if they all did it really well? Or what if there was like one guy who just did it so well? Like all the birthdays, all the things. They did all the shopping for the kids' birthday presents and Christmas presents, and they didn't act like stunned mullets on Christmas Day waking up to be like, oh, amazing, look at that present. I have no idea. I would question if they were gay or not. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Look,
you can't be surely all over that. You cannot be all over that and still be doing in your own lane.
Except,
don't tell me Togga does.
Except, no, Togga is completely hopeless at that stuff. But I think that's where love languages can come into it. Because I know husbands, and they're very few and far between, they nail gifts. I'm like,
for their wives?
For their wives. Like, they just nail it. And I'm like, oh. And like, you hear it.
So it wasn't like a last minute BP surface station pickup.
No, like commissioning a ceramicist to make perfect bowls that will fit her hands.
Actually, you know what, Brenton? Like within the first 6 months, bought this incredible piece of artwork that for me that I saw at a gallery that we went to, like the opening night together as a surprise. That's the last. First and last. Yeah. But maybe they do
hooked you with that.
Yeah, he did hook me with that, and then realized he probably never had to do anything again. But yeah, like surely they can't be thinking about all the things that men think about, and and still be like, is it little Billy's birthday? What am I going to go get him? I better make the cake too. I don't know.
But that, I think, and that's working to our biological strengths, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because women, like, we have the capacity to hold many things at one go. Like, this is why women generally fall into the line of maintaining a house, because you've got however many kids that have however many friends with however many birthdays each weekend, and they're all their requirements for, in my situation, school, but for you, you've got like different lessons going on. And then you're also organising whatever holidays coming up, whether it be Christmas or Easter or whatever, and then family situations. And like I've actually want to introduce like weekly dinner at our house where we invite friends over too, because I'm like, we're kind of missing that. Like I feel like that kind of like solid community connection. We did it really well, and then I fell pregnant with Margot and fell off that bandwagon. But I want to like bring that back, and as women we can hold that and like think about dinner in 3 days time and defrosting that meat and making sure.
Whereas men are a little bit more like in the moment, like what's happening, one thing at a time.
One thing at a time, which makes it a lot harder to.
I think the reason I'm bringing this up is like this is probably going to air a week after Mother's Day. So if you're still simmering and bitter about the lack of on Mother's Day.
No, it's probably about a month after Mother's Day actually.
Yeah, well, if you're still simmering a month later, then this is for you. But yeah, no, I think we've spoken so much about that on the podcast, like the differences and really just like honouring that. And I think that's been a big thing.
And really important for us raising boys and men.
Yeah, like treating them even differently.
Yeah, and knowing that like what they're going to experience is completely different. And maybe dad has to handle some of that man stuff. And maybe we need to take over a bit more when our girls are going through certain transitions. And I think that's been something that has been very, I don't know, everyone's going to listen to this and be like, "Buh." But like it's been necessary for me to hear over and over again, because I came into parenthood like anyone can do this. Everyone's genderless. Like
if I hadn't known that, I wouldn't have done the podcast with you.
You never would have even talked to me.
The fact that you shaved your head should have been like red flags. I should have asked you what you thought about all that then.
Did you know,
I understand it was a Britney moment. It was a crisis.
But did you know that actually a friend, I think, had sent me a thing. There's like an African tribe that when they lose someone like so close to them, and this was after I shaved my head, but they do. It's like a rebirth.
I actually have heard of that.
Yeah, it's like a death of self.
I'm pretty sure in Australia, like Indigenous do the same thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Actually, one of somebody I know told me that, because I was saying that my kids keep taking friggin' scissors to their head and wanting to cut their hair off, and she said that it was like a bit of it's a rebirth thing.
Yeah. No, and when I did it, I was like, there was such a weight taken off me too. It felt so good. Any of my ladies who have shaved their heads, you know exactly what it feels like. But before I married Togga, he did make me promise to never do it again. And look, there were some stages of regrowth where I was like, oh. But look back on those photos, I'm like, mullet, not so much me. But
did you have a mullet?
Oh, yeah, because the back of my hair grew faster than the top.
You probably started the mullet trend and you didn't even know it.
Maybe, but I did not do it well. I did not pull it off well.
Yeah, but who does it well? Talk to me.
No, I see some trendy bitches around here with mullets, but they've got like curly, shaggy hair.
Yeah.
Too, just rock it.
Yeah.
Like they make it look.
That's cool.
Like sexy chic.
I instantly just thought about like the skater skeg head from Gold Coast.
Dude, if I had a mullet, it would be like.
I don't mind a mullet, but I wouldn't want one in my family.
I'd look like my son.
Yeah.
But way less cute.
Children can get away with that shit. I don't know. If Brenton decided to get a mullet, I'd be like, I don't know about this. Yeah.
Digging the dreads at the moment. I love that my husband got rid of his dreads as yours.
No.
He
went on the Today Show the other day and I was like, you're giving homeless like a run for its money on the Today Show. You're going to have to brush your hair tonight. He won't brush it. So unless I sit there and brush his hair, which I actually find quite
therapeutic.
Yeah, it's nice.
Well, the men don't squirm like the kids do.
Yeah, unless he has full dreads. But yeah, no, I am encouraging the hairbrush.
A lot of conditioner is required.
Yeah, it's hard work. Yeah.
All right.
We have some questions actually that dropped in. Not too many, but
We did. A lot of love. And so thank you, listeners, because we also love you. We've had, I think one thing is that we wouldn't be doing this if no one was listening. So we really appreciate everyone that does tune in weekly. And we know we've got a solid viewership that do tune in weekly. And it's really heartwarming and like, it feels like such a privilege.
It has been lovely. But I just checked and they're pretty much all just questions about giving us love. So it's actually so nice. And I'm not going to be answering any questions. But yeah.
So, future of the podcast, where do you see this going?
No idea. We're having a little break for a little bit.
We are.
And yeah, who knows? Another 100? Another 200? Just Joe Rogan it. How many has he done now?
I think he's into 4,000 maybe.
Oh my God.
Well, maybe he's beyond 3. But we'd have to be doing like 3 a week. You ready for that?
No.
No, I didn't.
I can barely do this. Yeah, I mean, we still have a whole list of people that we never got around to talking to, which has been just
So
simmering
many.
in our notes section that we shared together of guests that, you know, and there's just, we could just talk about, there's just so much spoken about in the world and our lives. And
I feel like our last week's episode with Katie will be a big one to kind of explore a bit more and pull apart because that's it'll blow your mind.
it's hard to hear.
It's really hard to hear. And so I guess or investigating it further is always required when you get triggered by information, and I find that. But no,
I feel like that's what the whole point of a lot of the podcast is to get people thinking and kind of reevaluate and also probably understand that like we've always had the wisdom within us at some point. And yeah, returning to that. And sometimes that's hard.
Yeah.
And your perspective has to change. And that's okay.
But I think ultimately, I mean, a lot of what we do here is just trying to
share the other side.
Oh, but like, I mean, as we navigate motherhood and trying to make sure that we're giving our kids the best options and like the best resources and with, I mean, obviously with what we've got, but having all that information and being able to then transfer that on so that we can be like, oi, when they come complaining at 30 years old, like I did this research, like everything in motherhood that I did was as informed as I could possibly be.
True, because the generations before us often say we just did what we knew was best at the time. And I guess if you continue on that path of just, you know, because we don't have aunts and wise great-grandparents or anyone much these days, or a lot of people don't have any and some people still have it. But yeah, that information is a bit lost. Doesn't always apply either.
Yeah. Is there anyone that you would like to get on the podcast that we haven't yet?
I actually don't know. I mean, there's a
list.
Yeah,
but there's like one person that you're just like, come on.
I'd love to speak to the author who wrote the book Braiding Sweetgrass. But I think there may be like a age language. I mean, a lot of the books that I love and adore and feel like really connected to are very old.
Yeah.
And not sure if they're.
We did have John Gray on twice, so.
Also, oh my God, this is terrible. The sunscreen.
Oh, Elizabeth
Flood. Yes.
Oh,
bless her.
She's awesome.
Yeah, I think I'd love to. I mean, there's so many different things that I would love to speak about, but I also have realized that like currently I'm not in the age of, I'm not really feeling like a season of hungry for like information, like knowing, like I've been in that time of my life before where I've always been a seeker, like whether it's learning about health or like something. I would have, if you had have asked me like a year ago, I would have been like, ding, 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 ding. I'm listening to this. I'm reading this. I'm doing this. I barely like read a book these days. Like this is the information that I consume, which is like dwindling. My brain is like, I don't know who else to talk to. But yeah, I've found that actually interesting to sit with, like the seasons of really seeking. Like I feel like during pregnancy, we were kind of really seeking ideas and concepts and things like that. And now I feel like I'm on this tipping scale of like a 1-year-old. So I'm not really seeking postpartum information or any more knowledge there, or like I'm probably not going to give birth again. I'm probably not going to be pregnant again. You know what's fucked? Wait, as I say that
announcement.
I'm pregnant.
You're like,
no,
please don't tell me.
no, I actually
Have you got your period?
I actually just got my first period the other
Oh,
day.
congratulations.
I know.
Mazel tov to Chloe.
I know. Thank you. Thank you very much.
See how long
She's
that
bleeding. Well, fuck. Historically, it's like 1 or 2 cycles and boom. But it's really nice because now I can be like, I just feel so good about having a period. It's just bloody great. A lot of people won't agree with that, but it's just gives like a really good, just feels like you're in control. What I was going to say, oh yes, no, I have felt a little like phantom kicking in my, and I'm like, go away.
What, after one period?
No, before I got the period.
Oh, okay.
And like,
oh, you got just like a twinge.
but multiple times, like little fluttery kicks, like what it feels like when your baby's kicking in your belly. And I was just like, you can piss right off, spirit baby. Like you ain't here. You are not welcome.
You will be. We'll welcome you.
It's sad because like it's a conflict of like, I know I could, but I don't want to because I feel very like busy.
Why? How?
Got a lot going on.
Got a lot going on.
Yeah.
It is going to be nice. It's going to be nice to take a brief interlude and recalibrate. I was actually talking to Chloe, everyone, I'll let you in on our conversation, that I have aged considerably in the last 2 years. I was looking at the video from our first ever recording and man, I looked fine. I was like, where's that girl gone? So I feel like a solid hit of sleep is necessary and some good nourishment and like a little shift the focus back to family will be nice. But I definitely have not stopped yearning for more conversation and more information, and I just love learning and I love
You're a full information geek. Yeah. Like when you say that you've listened to all these audiobooks and podcasts in a week, I'm like, what the fuck? Like how?
I love it.
I think you just, when you're seeking, you're seeking.
It's like my meditation.
It's just natural. It's just like a natural, like, oh, this is what I'm doing. It's like cooking a meal. It's like
while
just turning it on and you're just like, you're in that program, like you've shifted into that.
And I just love anything, any kind of information.
I love anything.
But if it like challenges how I feel like I've like in my head, I'm just like, this is how the world works. And it challenges, like someone's view challenges that. I'm like, oh,
that's worthy of a conversation.
It's good because then I can either challenge it back and be like, but how about this, this and this? And I don't know. I love asking questions and I love speaking to people. So that little flame is still there, but the energy at the moment needs a little reboot.
You need a little shazam.
It'll be a holiday, but not a holiday.
Just do some stuff for you. Have a little break. We all need it sometimes.
But I'm sure in my break I'll be listening to a bunch of conversations and come back with like, we need to discuss this. It's going to be great.
And then you're like, so tired again. If anyone has any advice for like a crazy person like Keshia, who is so highly driven and
slightly
loves an
manic.
achievement and slightly type A.
Slightly cute.
Just a little bit. Send some tips our way about how to
manage,
not burn out.
Nah.
Cute.
I think this is something to celebrate. So
Yeah.
thank you all.
And we're not like celebrating in a very, we're celebrating in a very mum with 5 kids way. What are we even doing? We'll post it on social media when we get around to our celebration. I'm sure of it. We'll go have oysters and margaritas.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
Mm.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
All
right. Well, we'll still be around sporadically on social media.
We're just going to pump our back catalogue to you. And if you're new here, you're going to go back and you're going to listen to every episode.
But if there are any topics that you guys, anything that I guess any of our episodes has brought up for you, like, oi, follow this. Like we love hearing from you, and we
love new people. We love new topics. We love people's stories in our DMs. We love connecting.
We appreciate it too.
And yeah, we're always here for the connection, for when you feel like you are the only person in the world who feels the way you do. I can assure you we feel the same way.
Not anymore.
No.
Come join us.
No, I mean like over a contentious topic. Like when someone's like, oh, I really was too scared to say it. I feel like that.
I know. More Botox chats are going to come at you too. That was fun. I feel like there was a few things that I really wanted to cover. We didn't get a chance to, but
maybe the conversations will go from 1 to 3 hours just to get it all in. But yeah, thanks for being here.
Peace.
Ciao.
Thanks for tuning in to the Road to Wisdom podcast. To join the journey, you can follow us on Instagram at theroadtowisdom.podcast and at www.theroadtowisdompodcast.com. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. We look forward to seeing you next week with more juicy content.